This is a prophetic message about what I feel we can expect to experience and see in the collective consciousness over this next year cycle. And we're definitely in a new wave. We're in it. The wave is already moving, and we're riding a new wave of blossoming, renaissance, rebirthing. Imagine flowers popping and bursting everywhere. Each one of us a flower, like you move through a tropical jungle. And there's so many flowers with so many colors and distinctive patterns and lines and so many species of expression. So there's going to be a highly individuated blossoming across humanity this year. All of us are going to be moving in our own authentic expression, our own colors, our own lines, our own eccentricities, our own unique expression is coming out. And no surprises, we're more firmly rooted in the age of Aquarius now. So Pluto moved into Aquarius and is now firmly there for the next 19 years and moved in last year in November. So every time Pluto moves a sign, we are having a generational shift. We are having a shift in consciousness and collective rebirthing. So if you look at cultural history, right? Look at the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and there were subcultural movements in each of those decades and eras, and there was a blossoming of humanity, right? If we look at culture and subculture, we can see how the energy of the Great Mother, the Kundalini Mother, how she expresses in us, and she expresses when all kinds of new expression comes out. You look at the music of the 60s, the literature of the 60s, the films of the 60s, the political movements of the 60s, the same with the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. There's like a definite imprint on the collective consciousness when we have these subcultural blossomings and explosions of life. These are renaissance moments. They are energetic renaissance moments where an authenticity of expression and creativity opens up in each of us, and we're all vibing in our own unique expression. So even if you look at the glyph of Aquarius, right, it's these two lines like this. Those can be seen as like the currents of water or electricity or frequency, right? And it's also kind of looks like the serpent. And I've done a video on the year of the snake and how the serpent individuates us. She moves and she individuates us. So in this line of Aquarius, Aquarius is also like a very upfront, progressive, rebellious, innovative, just themselves, highly who they are, right? So we're all going into a very unique expression, like fully ourselves, fully our authentic expression, fully just letting it roll out, roll off the tongue as it comes, and being comfortable with that. And when we're all comfortable with who we are and we embody our flesh and our skin and our messiness and the way it comes out, like no presentation, you know, allow your eccentricity to be, allow your unique idiosyncrasies to just vibe off you, just be you, do your passion, doing your expression, being in your authenticity is the highest vibration for humans, right? So we're going to see a lot of high vibration in the collective experience and the collective mind, because people are all just rocking out in their authenticity, and that's a blossoming. When we nest and root into ourselves, that's a highly peaceful place and a still place to live in, because it takes a lot of letting go of it all and all the mental chatter and everything to just be yourself. It actually takes a deep seated Shiva type of awareness and peace to just be still in here while your Shakti is moving, your expression, your body, your life. How does she want to move? Oh, she wants to do this. She said this. She's crying over here. She's laughing over here. She's painting this. She's drawing this. She's speaking her truth here. You know, and this goes for whether you're a man or a woman. When I say she, the Shakti is the expression of ourselves. And Shiva is just chilling there in the peace, watching her. Watching Kali Ma just moving around and being herself, and there's no judgment. There's a great pleasure he takes when he's looking at Kali. She's like got her foot on his chest and he's watching her in her life, in her expression. So when we see people that are highly authentic and like very in themselves and their expression and not doubting it or like hindering it or suffocating themselves, just being themselves, I usually think, well, that person's in a deep state of peace and a deep state of self-acceptance. Because the deeper the stillness, the deeper the Shiva, the bigger the Shakti, the bigger the power, the bigger the uniqueness, the bigger the not giving a fuck. You know what I mean? The bigger the just like rocking out in who you are. So this cycle, I see us coming into a very deep stillness and peace and acceptance of ourselves, not care regardless of what others think, laughing at what others think, and letting our unique expression, the frequency of ourselves, vibe out and blossom. This creates the blossoming. This creates the Renaissance energy. So if we also look astrologically, Saturn has been moving through Pisces since 2023 until 2026, right? And the last time that happened was in the 90s. So we also look at the subcultural rebirthing of the 90s. And there was this ethos of liberation. Also a revolutionary spirit like we're seeing today, right? We're all like breaking off the system. We're all speaking up against a system of suppression. We're also all breaking into ourselves, all the systems and the mental suppressions and the things that we've had over our own expression and our own uniqueness. There's also a revolution in the self, and that's what the serpent does, right? She breaks off the things that are holding back or subjugating the realness. She's the realness. And so the last time Saturn was in Pisces was in the 90s, when we were having this massive explosion, like a raw fire rebirth in the collective consciousness. We saw that in music, art, films, in the political scene. I was alive and here in South Africa, so that was also the end of apartheid in 1994. Huge energy comes in, right? Huge energy comes in for the collective and the great mother who is the energy, like life force inside of this great story we're all living. She wakes up in us and she rejuvenates us and she liberates us. And this whole blossoming happens in the cultural expression of the human story. So when we are moved 10 years from today and we look back at this time, we're going to be able to look back at it like people look back at the 90s and they're able to go, oh, whoa, look at all the, because we're in it, we can't see what's happening because we're in it. So when you were in the 90s or the 60s or the 70s, it hadn't been codified yet because you were living it. Only a decade later do people look back and go, well, that was a subcultural blossoming. That was an explosion, a Renaissance blossoming in the collective mind, the collective brain that we all share, the collective body that we all share. So this Aquarian thing that we're all into, the serpent that's bringing us into this unique expression in our own, the more unique we are, the higher the frequency and the vibration of ourselves. And we're a cell vibrating in the collective body. So when we turn on and we're gyrating like a powerful Shakti, we're moving, we energize cells next to us. So all of us are creating new synaptic connections in the collective mind, new connections, new expressions, all influencing each other in ways that we can't possibly understand. And that's an opening. And I hope that looks like a beautiful, gorgeous vagina. That's the eye. If you think about the Vesica Pisces, right? And the eye of the needle in the middle, or the mother's vagina in the middle, right? The Eden, the Garden of Eden. So when we're in a blossoming, what happens in the Garden of Eden? It's continuously blossoming. There's honey and nectar and juice and milk and pleasure and bliss and fun and passion in the garden, right? When we're not in the polarity and we're living in our bliss and our expression and our flowering, like a continuous flowering is to live in this space, always blossoming, always new. Life is always interesting because there's a freedom to be and a freedom to express. The shackles are off. So we come into this middle way space where the mother abides. The mother is always here. The space is always available to us. And so many of us are going to be slipping into that space this year and living in the continuous flowering and the blossoming of our own expression. And just like the Aquarius sign, where we see these lines, jazzing it out. When you're just authentically yourself and you're just being and doing what is coming naturally without the eye of judgment on you or the suppression or all the conditionings, you just jazz it out. All right? And jazz is so authentic as well. It's so unique when you listen to jazz. And it comes out in the moment. It's like a felt music, right? So we're going to feel ourselves in the moment. We're going to feel our expression. Giving room to the things that aren't pre-planned and like organized and super structured, but rather bringing a container or a structure to the jazz in us, to the freedom in us, the exploration of this great uniqueness that we each are, the colors of us, the patterns in us, the flower of each one of us. This great fragrance is going to emerge on earth. This fragrance, because all of us are so uniquely in ourselves, and it starts to, that's the nectar. That's the most gorgeous place to live in. That's where the mother wants to take us to. She wants to live in that way through us. Consciousness wants to just be in the nectar. So there's going to be this great fragrance to the cycle as well. Yeah. So bring it. You're part of the rebirth, and just, it's going to emerge in you, actually. So don't even worry about it. This is naturally occurring in the cycle. The great wisdom, the mother, the Kundalini energy is naturally bringing this forward. She will birth the new earth when she decides to birth the new earth, and that's happening right now. It's been happening for a while, and here comes a wave. Sending love.